Hey you guys, welcome to a new video here. Today we are going to talk about something that we've never talked about before on this channel. We actually have a pretty cool side hustle that we do, and we'd love to talk to you about it.
Yeah, it's just a portion of what we're kind of into. We kind of have our hands in multiple different cookie jars, but this is one of them, and we've been doing it for almost
15 years this year.
15 years,
Yeah.
really long time.
Well, I've been doing it 15 years.
That's true.
You joined me in doing it, I would say probably 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. So basically, this is how it all started. So we have been married 20 years this year. And like a lot of people who just get married, or even today who've been married for a while, you start combining your finances and you realize that you're in a lot of debt. I bought a brand new car before we got married. My payment back then was over $500, which now doesn't seem like a lot, but in 2004 that was a pretty big car payment. And then you brought to the table some nice credit card debt.
Yeah. I went a little crazy in my youth with credit cards, and rather than paying the bills, I would just stuff them under my bed and hope they went away, and they did not go away. They accrued.
Yeah. and some.
Yes.
And so, of course, like most young 20-something couples, we didn't make a lot of money either.
No.
We were in our kind of beginning jobs, our entry-level jobs, and I don't even think combined we made $45,000 maybe.
Probably not, but back then living expenses were substantially cheaper, so we were still able to make it work.
Yeah. We moved to Nashville right after we got married, and I was introduced to Dave Ramsey at the time by a coworker. I didn't know who he was, and at the time he wasn't what he is today as far as popularity. He was a local person in Nashville who had a radio show, and I listened and I thought, this whole debt-free thing sounds great. We could do all kinds of stuff if we didn't have payments. And so, of course, you can only make so much at your job. We both had jobs that I don't really think we could work a lot of overtime with. So we just kind of got the checks that we got at every 2 weeks, and that was it. We quickly realized that thunder, we're getting a storm. We quickly realized that we could not pay off debt and get to the financial spot we wanted to with the 9-to-5 jobs that we had.
Mm-hmm.
So I started looking on the internet for anything I could find that would make me some extra cash. And we found mystery shopping.
Mystery shopping. Which at first, did we think it was a scam at first?
I think so.
I can't really remember, but I'm just starting to remember all these things that we did, like the things where you would do all these offers to get like gift cards and all kinds of stuff. And I think that was about the same time as you found mystery shopping. And honestly, it sounded too good to be true. So I think I was probably a little skeptical right out the gate.
The YouTube wasn't around. A lot of the social media that we use now to like share ideas and like check things out was not around.
We were still on MySpace at this point.
And I remember stumbling across a blog that they were the ones that did the offers to gift cards, which that's a legit thing. Maybe one day we'll talk about that. But they talked about mystery shopping, and I thought, I don't have anything to lose. Like, I can try this. This was a person who was telling you how to do it legitimately, and it just involved me going to a store and spending like 30 minutes of my time, and I thought, well, if it doesn't work out, I'm only out my time. And little did I know, it was actually legitimate, and I began to do some shops that year. I believe it was 2009. I've kept a spreadsheet of all the shops I've done over the years. I think that year I did 10 or 11 shops, and I made a couple $100. I was really testing it out. There was no like big database of like, hey, all these places are legitimate, shop for these. So for me, it was a lot of just trial and error. And fortunately, all of the ones I tried were legitimate. The more that you did, the more you knew what to look for and like the signs if they weren't legit. And then I started to do a whole bunch. And I did that I'm still doing it today a little bit, but I did that for a while. And then you started to do it.
Yeah, well, the main reason I got into it was because we realized if both of us were signed up, that was just double the shops we could do and double the money we could make. So it was kind of a no-brainer for both of us to be shoppers. All right, so usually when we tell people about this, the first question they ask is, what is mystery shopping?
So it's pretty straightforward. So basically, We are independent evaluators, so we are 1099 employees for all the companies that we shop for. And they send people like us, people all over the country, to evaluate businesses, standards of practice, service, product quality, all different things that businesses want to know about and data they want to collect about their business and the employees that work for them.
And I think some people also call it secret shopper.
Yeah.
Maybe you've heard that used rather than mystery shopper, but they're the same thing.
So basically that is it. And there are many companies across the United States, legitimate companies, in fact more than 100. We probably shop for 60 to 70 of those companies. At least we get signed up with them. And the company that is like the benchmark of being accredited or knowing that the company, the mystery shopping provider companies are legit, is called the MSPA, the Mystery Shopping Providers Association. I'll link that below if you want to check that out. But basically, that's what mystery shopping is. And so they send mystery shoppers into the field with a set of instructions on what they want you to look for, interactions they want you to have, products or services they want you to try, and then you report back based on the shopper guidelines for the shop that you're completing. And then there is typically a pay associated with that, and always a reimbursement for the most part. Most of the time you get both. You get a shop reimbursement, which is like, if you go to fast food, they're going to say, we'll give you a $10 reimbursement for your meal, and we'll give you $10 to do it. And then shop pay can vary, right?
Yes. And a lot of times, especially as it gets later in the month, or if they're having trouble fulfilling a certain shop, they start putting bonuses on them, and you can make some good money when that starts happening.
So let's talk about what kind of mystery shops that there are. What's been your favorite so far?
I mean, I like to eat, so honestly, my favorite is usually the restaurants. We get to go to restaurants that we would never spend our own money to go to because they're very high-end restaurants. So that's probably my favorite part, is getting to just go all out every now and then on a great meal that otherwise we would never eat.
We have had many of $80 steaks per
Yes.
person, per each of us, on the house, meaning we get reimbursed for the meal to evaluate it, and that has been great. So there are different types of shops. There are shops that you can conduct in-store, which is pretty typical type of shop. There are some online shops. There are some virtual shops. There are some undercover shops, which a lot of them are, and then there are some where you announce yourself and they know why you're there. We do all kinds of things, like you mentioned, restaurants, there's gas stations, grocery stores. Help me out here.
If you really get into the big time, you can do hotels, casinos, cruises. I mean, if it's a business, more than likely they hire a mystery shopper to make sure everything's running the way it should.
There's also a lot of shops you can do on your mobile phone now. That's a kind of a new thing about this. Years ago, it was all done on the computer, like meaning that I would go out and come home and put everything in. And now there's a lot of them that allow me to just put it in right after from my phone, or actually require me to use my phone to complete it. So those are always great. One of the things that's also great, which was perfect for us, was that when we were using this as a tool to get out of debt, it let us kind of live the lifestyle we wanted to live.
Yes.
It let us go out and shop when we didn't necessarily need to be. It let us go to nice restaurants on the weekends because we were getting paid to do it and being reimbursed, which was really great trying to get out of debt.
Yes.
Is that what you remember about it too?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't think I would say that we were broke, but we also only had maybe a few $100 in our checking account, and that was just enough to get us by. So we were living off of a lot of Hamburger Helper style box meals.
Frozen meals.
Yes. If it could be frozen and then heated up in the microwave, that's what we were eating a lot of times. So we got to go out to a lot of nice restaurants that at that point we couldn't even afford to go out and eat at these places. So it was nice to just live like we saw everybody else living, but we weren't able to.
And to this day, even though we're debt-free now, we still do that. We just came back from a trip and had a $250 steak dinner that we got reimbursed for. So even though the objective of doing it has since passed, we became debt free, it's still a favorite thing of ours to do, because why would you pay for a meal if you didn't have to, right?
Yeah, and also we get to try a lot of places or go experience different things that we probably would have never done otherwise. So it kind of broadens your horizons to stuff you wouldn't have tried.
That's a good point, because I didn't mention we've done like show tickets and events. We've been to sporting events.
Yep.
We've all been paid to do these. And so that's awesome to just be able to go and have your entertainment pretty much reimbursed, and oftentimes you make a little money to do it too.
Yes.
So tell me about one of your favorite shops. It can be a small one or a large one.
Let's see. Well, how much detail can I give without?
Be very general. That's one thing we didn't mention. So when you're a mystery shopper, you're limited on what you can share. So I can't tell you the company that I shop for and their client. So I can't say, company XYZ, I do shops for, Bob's Restaurant. I can't do that.
Yeah.
So we'll have to be a little vague, and when we are vague, that's why.
So probably one that kind of comes to mind is we were in a touristy area, and we had a mystery shop to do one of the attractions there, which is kind of like a Ferris wheel type thing. And she is afraid of heights. And as soon as we got in there, so they were enclosed pods. And the guy was like, hey, just so you know, there's a red button right here. If you start to freak out, just hit that button. When it comes back around, we'll stop it and let you out.
I was reaching for the button.
And no lie, we hadn't even gotten halfway up, and she was already reaching, and I had to grab her hand. I was like, you are not touching that button. We are going to finish this ride. And so it was just a really funny thing, but also it was a cool thing to do, because I'm wanting to say that was like a $40 or $60 thing that we would have never paid that to go do this, but we got to for free.
And we made a little bit of money too.
Yeah, we made a little bit of money to do it, but that was. I always remember that because it was just a really funny thing with her kind of freaking out.
And he was like, "You can't push the button. We're supposed to experience this whole thing for
yeah,
the shop."
that definitely would have voided our shop, and we just would have been on the hook for the money.
The cool thing about the tourist location type of shops is that you get to do like the whole tourist experience. So if I remember right, with this shop, we had to do the photos that they took prior. We had to do a gift shop purchase.
Buy
Like it's the
souvenir.
whole experience. So really, it was awesome because we got to do this, and it was really fun for him. And we made some money too.
Yeah.
I think for me, one of the coolest ones that we've done have been sporting events.
Mm-hmm.
We've gone to basketball games and gotten tickets to see games, and we've been able to eat there on the premises and get a little money too, and that's always fun.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I always love the food shops, like you said. They're great to always get a free meal and also to try new things, which is really cool. Lots of restaurants that maybe you don't think to go to or you haven't been to before. Honestly, we could talk about this for hours.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
If someone were to ask you how much time it takes to do a shop, what would you tell them?
I mean, it obviously varies. There's some that can be done. There's some that we do that she has done on her phone before we even get to the next place. They're so quick. But then there's others that she's up for a couple of hours at night, typing in narratives and stuff. So it really varies. But I would say on average, maybe counting the time. Well, no, I can't say counting the time.
Let's just say we're doing the actual report.
I would say report. I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I would say the average is probably in the 15 to 20 minute range.
I would say 15 to 30 minutes.
15 to 30?
I don't normally, even though you are working on site when you do a restaurant or whatever, to me that's fun because normally we would, at this point in our life, we'd be doing something like that anyway.
Right.
And when he talks about the couple of hours, those are like hotels. Like those are like high-paying jobs that give you a lot of reimbursement, where in my opinion are worth my time to put in. But don't let us scare you. Like most of them do not take that long.
Right.
So
that's the rarity.
yeah. And one thing that's really cool is I've heard a lot of people say, oh, well, they only pay like $10, $8. It's really just not worth your time. And I would say to you that your best friend with those are routes. And we love doing route shops. We did a little route this past week of gas stations that on their own would not be worth the pay that they were at, but collectively it was worth a nice chunk of money, and it was worth it for us to go do them.
Yeah, it's all about stacking as much as you can without getting overwhelmed to where it just turns into a nightmare, which we've had that happen before as well.
I think biggest piece of advice for a new shopper is do a few, don't overwhelm yourself for a couple of reasons. You don't want to get burnt out, but I think when you try to do too many, you may lose important details in the shop that you forget to write down, and it's just not good. So, do you have anything else you want to share about shopping?
Let's see. I think a lot of people might be hesitant in the beginning because a lot of these shops do require upfront expenses. So you're not just, a lot of them are on cycles. Sometimes you have to wait 30 up to, or there's some that are up to 60 days.
There are a couple that are 60 days to pay.
So it can take 1 to 2 months to get your money back. And I think that might deter a lot of people because they're like, hey, I can't have $50 to $100 just hanging out here on, food, gas, whatever, and wait to get it back. But if you can just get it started and get over that hump to where you get your first reimbursements back, it'll just, you'll just constantly be working off of the money you made from that point. You won't actually be coming out of your pocket anymore.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I have a special bank account that's set up for all monies to come in and out of. And so, like you said, once you've done some and you get a little bit of money in that account, it's nice to just keep it rolling. And that's how you can go and do that. Trying to think if there's anything I would share. Just organization. We could talk about that all day long. Paying attention to detail, making sure that you meet dates, things like that. And the more that you shop, the more opportunities that will come your way, the more confident that you'll get to seek out these higher, more time-intensive, like harder jobs, really.
And don't get discouraged if you do get started and you apply for some of the higher end or higher paying jobs. It's possible you won't get them right out the gate because they want someone with experience, maybe somebody with a track record. And it might take you some time to build that track record, gain trust from the schedulers before they will start assigning these better paying jobs to you.
Nate does a lot of high-end restaurants, and he did not do those at first.
No.
It's taken a while. In fact, some places you have to actually apply for the job, and then the scheduler, the person who schedules you to go, will have to give you the job. But he's at a point with some of the companies now where he has a good enough track record that he can just go in and assign them to himself. And so once you get to that point, you can really kind of have what you want. Based on, some places you can only do so many 30 days or every 3 months, but you kind of get your pick of what you want. And that's really nice.
But I mean, even though we've been doing this for 15 years, there's still shops we can't even get because there's other people who've been doing it for 20, 25 years. So it's all about just consistency, meeting your goals, not flaking out when you do pick up a shop, making sure to follow through. And yeah, like she said, keeping good details, having a cell phone on you at all times to where you can constantly take notes or video or audio record. That's a huge help and will keep you from potentially missing some important details that you weren't even aware you needed to keep track of in the beginning.
That's right. A lot of people ask me how much we have made mystery shopping, and it'll be 15 years for me in October of this year, and about 10 for you, I believe we found out. So we have made in reimbursements and pay $150,000 mystery shopping. And if you kind of divide that out amongst the 15 years, it's not as impressive, but it's been a nice chunk of extra cash. And for us, in moments where we didn't have the money to enjoy like dining out and stuff, really nice. And so what I decided to do, I've told all my friends and family about this, and people ask me about it a lot. I've talked about it for years to people, and I used to get on my computer. I have this little Word document. I would send it over to people and be like, this is what you do. This is what you avoid. And so last September, I decided to write a book. And here it is. It's called Get Paid to Shop. It's on Amazon. You can buy it in a Kindle, or you can buy it in a little hard copy. It is a very quick and easy read. I'm looking to see how many pages. It's 51 pages. The great thing is I tell you exactly all of my, tips and tricks on how to be a shopper, what to do, what not to do, how to fill out a report. There's a sample report in here. There is a link to a checklist you can print out to help you gather data for your shops. But to me, the best thing is my master list of all legitimate shopping companies, which is, I think, at 138
It's a lot.
on here. These are jobs to do on your computer and also apps on your phone, all that will pay you to complete mystery shops or micro tasks for extra cash.
Because while mystery shopping is legit, there are some illegitimate mystery shopping scammers out there. So that's another great thing about the resources in this book is we are not going to give you any information that could potentially lead you down a road to get scammed. These are proven companies that we have worked with.
And one thing to mention, never will any company I share on this list reach out to you just out of the blue and say, let's do a job, go buy some gift cards or whatever else. That is 100% a scam. You have to reach out, you have to fill out an application and sign up, and that's how you are then alerted about jobs that are available in your area. One thing that this book does not cover is taxes. I am not a tax professional. There is no legal or tax advice in this book. You are 1099 employees. You do not work for these companies. You are not employees of these companies or the places that you shop at. So it's your responsibility to remit your social and things like that so appropriate tax records can go to you. And so I would advise you to go to an accountant for information on how to file your taxes on this. There are deductions that go along with this like any other business you might do, but that is not discussed in the book. So I will link below the link to Amazon. I also have a website. I'll link that below as well, and you can find some other things there about making extra cash also. I think, anything else you want to say?
I think, for as brief as this video is, I think that pretty much covered everything. At the end of the day, yes, there are some mystery shoppers we've met that this is their full-time income. They travel the country nonstop, just doing routes all over the place, and that's how they make a living. And while that is possible, it's going to be more typical for this to just be, if you want to call it a side hustle, side gig, whatever. It's just a good way to make an extra, I would say realistically, $300 to $500
per month.
Yeah. By doing this stuff. And again, you can get free groceries, free meals out,
gas in your car,
free gas. So it's not just getting paid, but you're also getting these other things on top of that you would be spending your money on anyway. So you might as well get paid and reimbursed.
Exactly. And I love it. And, I tell people this book is not expensive on Amazon, and I don't make any income claims. However, I believe, in my opinion, that a shop or two, you could start working tomorrow. If you get this book and read it in a day, start working tomorrow, and then your first paycheck, payout for doing a job, I think would more than cover the cost of this book.
For sure.
So, anyways, we wanted to share it. It sure helped us out a whole lot, and we still do it. It's a fun side gig, and so we just kind of wanted to share it with everybody. People will probably come on here and say, "Why are you sharing this? You're going to take all of the jobs." I can tell you, I have probably spoken to 500 people in the last 15 years. I don't know but a couple that actually do it to some degree to be serious competition for others. And then, some people just like to have fun. And there's a resource in this book that will provide you with a map of your area and shops that are available. There are more shops in my area that I could physically do.
And we don't even live in a highly populated area. If you live near a major city, I bet there's going to be hundreds,
if not thousands,
of available shops.
Yeah. So it's definitely, even if you're just looking to, this is not I'm not, promoting this as let's start a whole new career, although for some people it becomes that. Mm-hmm. It's just some little jobs you can pick up to help put a little extra money in your pocket, maybe help you do some fun things. Right. And at a moment, maybe some people don't have the cash to do those fun things. So anyways.
And I know this video is getting long, but there was one more thing I wanted to point out. Like a lot of times, when we travel, like just this past week, we were out of town for a week on vacation, and we were able to do enough shops while we were out of town that we actually made money to go on vacation.
Yeah.
If that even makes sense.
We were there from Sunday to Friday.
Right.
We got free gas to drive around because we didn't pay. We did some gas shops. Most of our food was paid for.
Right.
And we did a few other things. And I think we came home like over $200 in the positive.
Right. So that's another cool thing about this is it doesn't have to be centered around where you live. If you have a trip anywhere, just look at the map. You can make a map or a route of shops along the way, or if you're flying somewhere, find some shops wherever you land or wherever you're going to be on your vacation, and more than likely you could at least put a little extra money back in your pocket to help pay for that vacation you just took.
Yeah. And another thing that's great, and we could talk about this for hours, it's going to be the last thing for me, is it's so flexible. This is not a 9-to-5 kind of thing for the most part. Sometimes there are time restrictions, but it's a very flexible thing for a stay-at-home parent, a retired person, a person that wants to pick some things up after work or before work of their regular 9-to-5. There's a lot of possibility and a lot of different options to schedule these on your own time.
Yes.
So anyways, I think we're going to wrap it up for now. We can talk about this forever, but here is the book again, Get Paid to Shop. It's on Amazon. I'll link it below. And as always, drop comments below if you want to chime in about any of this or if you have questions. I'll be responding in the comments and I'm happy to answer them. We'll see you next time.
See ya.
Bye.